Good. And I'm clapping too. Okay, there you go. Please be seated. Good morning. Good morning. I'm Jerry Cruz, the Dean and Provost of Southern Illinois University School of Medicine. I welcome all of you, parents, spouses, families, friends, graduates, to this convocation of the faculty of the SIU School of Medicine. This convocation is now in session. We meet today for the purpose of commencement for the class of 2024. This is the 50th commencement for the SIU School of Medicine, the golden anniversary. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Dan Mahoney, President of the Southern Illinois University System.
Thank you, Dean Cruz. On behalf of the SIU system, it is my privilege to congratulate the SIU Medicine 2024 graduates and all their friends and family who helped support them to make this accomplishment happen. At SIU, we've been around for 155 years, and over that time period, over 472,000 people have earned a degree from one of the universities in our system. These graduates have had a significant impact locally, nationally, and beyond. Today, you all become part of that SIU tradition, a long tradition of producing outstanding graduates. Now, graduating from medical school is always a significant accomplishment, and everyone who does so faces challenges along the way, and the last few years have been particularly challenging. So you should be very proud that you persevered to this point. Now, as we look to the future, both at SIU and for each of you, we're excited about what comes next. We wish you the best of luck at the next chapter of your journey, which I know for many of you is residency, and hope you continue to accomplish great things. We also hope that you continue to stay connected to SIU. So again, congratulations and best of luck in the future.
It's now my pleasure to welcome to the podium Mr. Ed Curtis, member of the Board of Trustees of the Southern Illinois University System.
Thank you, Dean Cruz. On behalf of the Board of Trustees of Southern Illinois University, it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to the 50th commencement of SIU School of Medicine. As we celebrate the achievement of our graduates in this milestone year, I want to pause a moment to thank everyone who has made this day possible. First, I want to thank President Mahoney, Chancellor Lane, Dean Cruz, all the members of the administration of SIU. You're part of a tradition of visionary leadership that has sustained SIU School of Medicine for more than 50 years, has made it a world-class institution. I want to thank the faculty and all the staff, not only for sharing your knowledge in the classroom, but also for offering our graduates encouragement and space to innovate and explore. You have given them the confidence they need as they begin the next chapters in their lives. And thank you to the family and friends who have joined us today to celebrate. You've been there for our graduates every step of the way, supporting them, inspiring them, and reminding them of the reason they're on this journey. Thank you for believing in them, even in moments when they had some doubts themselves. And finally, and most importantly, I want to thank you to the graduates of the class of 2024. Your hard work, plans, and dreams have led you to this day. But as we all know, it's not an ending. It's the beginning of a new world of opportunities for you, and I hope you'll embrace these opportunities, including the greatest one of all, the opportunity to serve others. A long, rewarding career of service is my wish for all of you, and I'm confident that everything you've learned at SIU School of Medicine has prepared you for whatever lies ahead. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, congratulations to the class of 2024. It
is now my pleasure to introduce more members of the administration and the Deis Party. I'd ask the audience to please hold your applause until all members of the dais party have been introduced. First, Dr. John Mellinger, our speaker. Next, Dr. Deborah Clayman, Senior Associate Dean for Education and Curriculum. Dr. Don Torrey, Associate Dean for Research. Dr. Chris McDowell, Executive Associate Dean. One member of the dais party is in the audience, Dr. Amanda Mulch, Assistant Dean for Student Affairs. Next, Dr. Vidya Prakash, Chief Medical Officer and Associate Dean for Clinical Affairs and Population Health. Dr. Jennifer Rose, Director of the Lincoln Scholars Program. Dr. Wendy Wills Elamine, Associate Dean for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. Dr. Hanami Adrizi, Associate Dean for Student Affairs and Admission. Dr. Sue Hingle, Associate Dean for Human and Organizational Potential. Dr. Shelley Tishkow, Chair of Medical Microbiology, Immunology, and Cell Biology, and Chair of Pharmacology. Dr. Rick Austin, President, SIU School of Medicine Alumni Society. And 4 members of the faculty who have been honored by the class of 2024. Dr. Carrie-Anna Brenham, Associate Dean for Graduate Medical Education, who's been asked to read the Physician's Pledge. Dr. Rick Constance, Department of Internal Medicine, who will hood the graduates. Dr. Jeremy Kulaz, 2024 Golden Apple recipient. And Dr. Rod Weilbacher, Carbondale Teacher of the Year. The dais party. And now, would all of the faculty members of the SIU School of Medicine please rise? All faculty members, please rise. We recognize the faculty members of the School of Medicine who've worked side by side with the graduates in the classrooms, in the labs, in the hospitals, in the community, in the clinics, in their lives. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Dr. Tishkow will now present the candidate for the degree Master of Science in Molecular Biology, Microbiology, and Biochemistry.
Will Hondo, the candidate for the degree Master of Science in Molecular Biology, Microbiology, and Biochemistry, please rise? President Mahoney, Han has completed all requirements established by Southern Illinois University. On behalf of its faculty, I am pleased to recommend her to you for the degree Master of Science in Molecular Biology, Microbiology, and Biochemistry.
In accordance with this recommendation, and by the virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the degree Master of Science in Molecular Biology, Microbiology, and Biochemistry with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Congratulations.
Hondo will be hooded by her departmental faculty advisor, Dr. Andrea Blondmeyer-Fleming.
Will the candidates for the degree Doctor of Medicine please rise? President Mahoney, the degree Doctor of Medicine is awarded only to those who have demonstrated outstanding ability and knowledge and the diligence and personal strength of character necessary to be a physician. These candidates have completed all the requirements established by the School of Medicine, and on behalf of its faculty, I am pleased to recommend them to you for the conferral of the degree Doctor of Medicine.
In accordance with this recommendation, and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Medicine with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Congratulations.
Please be seated. Dr. Mary Aid, Moline, Illinois. Dr. Theodore Lord Agmamaple from Springfield, Illinois. Dr. Sarah Abisola Akambi from Elgin, Illinois. Dr. Denzel Kwambene Esoka from Chicago, Illinois. Dr. Owen Michael Alfred Bixel from Quincy, Illinois. Dr. Kamawak Sifi Makael Anota from Kursa Ilala, Ethiopia. Dr. Taylor Claire Badger from Springfield, Illinois. Dr. Leah Barkmeyer Case, being hooded by her mother, Dr. Lynn Barkmeyer, Springfield, Illinois. Dr. Catherine Marie Besserman from Collinsville, Illinois. Dr. Austin Carey from Mount Auburn, Illinois. Dr. Adrian Cavender from Commencement, Illinois. Dr. Gabrielle Marie Christian from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Logan Cole from Granite City, Illinois. Dr. Drew Charles Connor from Nashville, Illinois. Dr. Matthew Robert Contreras from Eldina, Illinois. Dr. Jacqueline Therese Conway from Springfield, Illinois. Dr. Jane Ann Elizabeth Crabtree Marty, being hooded by her father, Travis Crabtree, from Springfield, Illinois. Dr. Emily Marie Dirks from Freeburg, Illinois. Dr. Peaches Adrian Dozier from Bowie, Maryland. Dr. Ashley Eggert from Peoria, Illinois. Dr. Morgan Lynn Eggman Cooper from Mount Zion, Illinois. Dr. Emma Fenner from Jacksonville, Illinois. Dr. Alexandria Floyd from Springfield, Illinois. Dr. Madison Funneman from Greenville, Illinois. Dr. Edgar Emmanuel George Nenetti from Palatine, Illinois. Dr. Kanisha Tatiana Raquel Green from Springfield, Illinois. Dr. Jill Jolene Harris from Eureka, Illinois. Dr. Jennifer Ann Hauser from Peoria, Illinois. Dr. Mina Anita Jane from Champaign, Illinois. Dr. Emma Marie Johns from Villa Grove, Illinois. Dr. Christopher Aaron Johnson from Springfield, Illinois. Dr. Hunter John Jones from Champaign, Illinois. Dr. Courtney Michelle Kemper from Winchester, Illinois. Dr. Morgan Lee Kaiser from Marion, Illinois. Dr. Sanskriti Kurana from Bloomington, Illinois. Dr. Alexandra Kissel from Billington, Illinois. Dr. Abigail Knuckles from Waterloo, Illinois. Dr. Jazz Krieger from Washington, Illinois. Dr. Keegan Kruckeberg from Sullivan, Illinois. Dr. Blake Laird from New Baden, Illinois. Dr. Mia Lambert, being hooded by her mother, Dr. Jill Brody, from Macomb, Illinois. Dr. Caleb Lay from Plainville, Illinois. Dr. Giuseppe Domenico Meaco from Springfield, Illinois. Dr. Reese Malone from Manteno, Illinois. Dr. Megan Mayville from Belleville, Illinois. Dr. Bridget McLean from Springfield, Illinois. Dr. Matthew James McClintock, being hooded by his father, Roger McClintock, Rochester, Illinois. Dr. Michael James McGee from Marion, Illinois. Dr. Kelly Jo Meyer from Quincy, Illinois. Dr. Jack Daniel Moore from Tremont, Illinois. Dr. Emily Louise Mouchon from Morton, Illinois. Dr. Tyler Adam Natoff from Rio, Illinois. Dr. Cecily Elizabeth Negri from Bloomington, Illinois. Dr. Madison Quinn Nelson from Jacksonville, Illinois. Dr. Parth Neelish Patel from Forsyth, Illinois. Dr. Shri Atul Patel from O'Fallon, Illinois. Dr. Heaven Poon from Dunlap, Illinois. Dr. Nicholas Austin Porter from Paxton, Illinois. Dr. Gregory Redwinski from Monticello, Illinois. Dr. Randy Reeder from Cypress, Illinois. Dr. Nellie Caroline Roberts from Dow, Illinois. Dr. Hunter Roller from Troy, Illinois. Dr. Nicholas Roth from Springfield, Illinois. Dr. Evan Semble, being hooded by his mother, Diane Hillard Semble, Springfield, Illinois. Dr. Cassidy Nicole Sheedy, being hooded by her father, Dr. Michael Sheedy, Springfield, Illinois. Dr. Morgan Suri from Edwardsville, Illinois. Dr. Allison Marie Sweeney from Belleville, Illinois. Dr. Ashna Thakur from Bloomington, Illinois. Dr. Nikhil Kishore Thope from Savoy, Illinois. Dr. Blaine Traylor from Mount Zion, Illinois. Dr. Stephen Troop from Marion, Illinois. Dr. Çağla Unal from Izmir, Turkey. Dr. Sefra Urbas from Sherman, Illinois. Dr. Noah Valette from Harrisburg, Illinois. Dr. Ryan Vasconcelos, being hooded by his mother, Dr. Kara Vasconcelos from Springfield, Illinois. Dr. Nient Shrenik Vora, Bloomington, Illinois. Dr. John Patrick Witten, Peoria, Illinois. Dr. Matthew Kevin Woodbury from Oswego, Illinois. Dr. Benjamin Jerome Young from Decatur, Illinois.
The class of 2024. There you go. A standing ovation. Class can stand and acknowledge them. That'd be great. Yep. I think we're racking up the decibels today. That's some good enthusiasm. So now I'd ask everybody to take your commencement book, the commencement book, and please turn to page 10 and put your reading glasses on. The Physician's Pledge articulates the honored association of medical science with the highest standards of ethical behavior. Dr. Kariana Brenham has been asked to lead the physicians in the recitation of this pledge. It's on page 10. Will all the physicians on stage and all the physicians in the audience, and all the graduates, of course, please rise and read along with us.
Congratulations again, and we'll go ahead and read. As a member of the medical profession, I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of humanity. The health and well-being of my patient will be my first consideration. I will respect the autonomy and dignity of my patient. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life. I will not permit considerations of age, disease, or disability, creed, ethnic origin, gender, nationality, political affiliation, race, sexual orientation, social standing, or any other factor to intervene between my duty and my patient. I will respect the secrets that are confided in me, even after the patient has died. I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity and in accordance with good medical practice. I will foster the honor and noble traditions of the medical profession. I will give to my teachers, colleagues, and students the respect and gratitude that is their due. I will share my medical knowledge for the benefit of the patient and the advancement of healthcare. I will attend to my own health, well-being, and abilities in order to provide care of the highest standard. I will not use my medical knowledge to violate human rights and civil liberties, even under threat. I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honor. Thank you very much.
Be seated. Our graduation speaker today is Dr. John Mellinger. Dr. Mellinger is presently the Vice President of the American Board of Surgery and Professor Emeritus of Surgery and Medical Education for the SIU School of Medicine. Dr. Mellinger spent over 11 years of his career with us. After receiving education and experience at Case Western Reserve University, the University of Washington, Michigan State University, Mount Sinai Medical Center in Cleveland, Wright State University, and the Medical College of Georgia, Dr. Mellinger joined the faculty of the SIU School of Medicine in 2010 as Professor and Chair of General Surgery. He was subsequently named the J. Roland Folse Endowed Chair in Surgery and became Vice Chair of the Department of Surgery. He is also a trained coach and mentor and served the SIU School of Medicine as Director of Leadership and Excellence for our Center of Human and Organizational Potential. When he arrived at SIU in 2010, Dr. Mellinger was already a renowned expert in surgical education, and our program here in surgical education was already one of the best. It's not easy to improve on one of the best, but there is no doubt at all that Dr. Mellinger took our surgical educational program to a loftier level, even more respected around the world. Dr. Mellinger epitomizes the concept of professionalism in medicine. He teaches, he listens, he coaches, he mentors, he communicates, he administers, he leads, he researches, he cares, he inspires. He inspires. He respects everyone. He manages challenges with grace. He served our country in the Air Force. He is a husband and a father. He's devoted to his family, his wife Elaine, 4 children, 12 grandchildren. Our speaker, one of SIU's best, Dr. John Mellinger.
Dr. Cruz, President Mahomey, Trustee Curtis, many dear and esteemed faculty colleagues, parents, family, friends, and above all, SIU Medicine Class of 2024. Allow me to add my sincerest congratulations as we celebrate this milestone and the commencement of your next step as lifelong learners and public servants. It is quite honestly perhaps the highest honor of my professional journey to have these few minutes with you, both because of the significance of this moment for you and your families, but also the dearness of this institution to my own heart. Let me therefore begin by expressing my deepest thanks for the privilege of sharing these moments with you today. At the outset, I want to recognize that you are sitting here today because you and your supporting cast of family, friends, colleagues, and teachers have become accomplished sprinters. You have crammed a vast foundational body of knowledge, skills, and behaviors into 4 years of focused sweat, no doubt some tears of both joy and sorrow, and yes, for the budding surgeons in the crowd, some blood as well. Hopefully not too much. During this process, you have learned to suppress your normal appetites, prioritized the development of new disciplines, altruistically served the needs of others, and, I trust, found new dimensions of meaning and purpose for your own lives. To structure our time together, focus with me at our outset on those 4 words: appetite, discipline, altruism, and meaning. And I'll even give you an acronym, ADAM, which in Hebrew means humanity, who we are. That's what we'll talk about this morning, or this afternoon, maybe by now. Those 4 words constitute a framework of human happiness that was detailed by Robert Spitzer, the former president of Gonzaga University, in his book, The Spirit of Leadership. Spitzer points out there that across virtually every worldview, these 4 sources of happiness are recognized as distinct domains that also demonstrate a progressive hierarchy. While none can be ignored, the lower levels have associated pitfalls that can detour our progress towards the highest. To successfully navigate the journey you have ahead, to convert, if you will, your sprinting skills into those suited to a marathon, you and I need to engage with each of these levels, taking advantage of their sustaining influences whilst avoiding those pitfalls. It is to this theme I would like to devote our time. The first level of happiness, the A in our humanness, if you will, is that in which we gratify our physical appetites. We experience this in infancy. When we are hungry, we eat, tired, we sleep, and so forth. We all know the importance of addressing these basic needs and the temporary pleasure that accompanies doing so. You have learned already the hallowed principle that you must sleep when you can, eat when you can, and so forth, and will not be whole caring for others if you do not engage in self-care. That being recognized, this level of happiness is by definition short-lived, as these needs are ongoing for all of us, even when we condition ourselves to extend them. Physical pleasures also have the inherent danger that if overemphasized, they may lead to self-harm or even addiction. We might get the fix for another short-term sprint out of an overdose of physical pleasure, but such alone will not sustain us in the marathon of a career path. So my first piece of advice is to enjoy these types of appetite-based happiness regularly and learn to receive them with the gratitude appropriate to gifts rather than as possessions or worse yet, idols. Treat them as your servants, not your masters. Spitzer's second type of happiness is what you have accomplished as you have developed the discipline required to pursue a goal higher than physical pleasure, the pleasure that comes from disciplined pursuit. We are all here today because of your success in doing this, and worthily so. In this dimension of happiness, we learn to manage rather than enfranchise physical pleasure and achieve goals that bring deeper and more enduring satisfaction. Often, this is associated with a sense of having pursued our individual sense of giftedness or ability. We also find that such accomplishments open to us new vistas that engender hope and vision for the future, such as you experience today as you consider the horizons ahead, now that you've added the initials MD after your name. This all being recognized, there is a downside to this level of happiness as well. As we accomplish things, we very easily become aware of and potentially enamored with the secondary gains that accompany them. Things like titles, awards, and that sinister thing we call reputation, which so easily becomes an end to itself in contradistinction to the character formation that actually underlies it. The competitive nature of achievement can in fact ruin souls if it becomes its own form of addiction. When this happens, we sacrifice core relationships and the needs of those nearest us on the altar of our continued accomplishment. We become motivated by the next byline, perhaps on our CV, a productivity bonus, or an adoring comment from a patient or colleague feeding our sense of self-importance. Rather than pursuing excellence to serve others, we become people pleasers and impression managers. Rather than blessing those around us with the gifts that excellence brings, we become self-centered, bitter when not recognized, angry when bypassed, and endlessly offended by the microaggressions committed against us, instead of being dispensers of forgiveness and grace in a profession that frankly is too often characterized by ego. We also must learn that if our worth is staked on accomplishment alone, we will lose it one day as capacities atrophy with our age. Thus, like our physical appetites, the happiness that comes from discipline can also become a dangerous master, and we have to look deeper for what would sustain us in the latter part of our marathons. This brings us to the third level of happiness, the second A in Adam, if you will, which is the happiness that comes from being engaged in altruism. At this stage, which you have experienced through parents, coaches, teachers, and classmates, we encounter the happiness that comes from putting others' needs above our own. When we embrace this form of happiness, we expand our horizon of delight into the relationships before us and around us. We no longer are limited by the constraints of our own bodies, egos, and limited influences, and become part of a much bigger and expanding story. We become open to the realities of community and collective achievement. Some years ago, psychiatrist Carl Menninger was asked what advice he would give to a person struggling with discouragement. His answer was, quote, "To leave your house, find someone in need, and do something to help that person," end quote. You see, there is a deliverance from ourselves at more levels than we understand when we offer ourselves to another's interest in need, especially their need. The beauty of your professional calling is that you will be invited to do this daily. My advice to you would be to lean into this every chance your energies allow, especially for those around you who are otherwise marginalized and diminished. The homeless person, the colleague whose contributions are being overlooked, or anyone in your path who is not seen, countenanced, or openly loved and valued. Help a nurse make up a soiled bed, get a patient a glass of water, notice the grieving loved one at a bedside, and take your hand off the doorknob, sit down, and be silent and present with them. This is what it means to be a physician, to show sympathy, empathy, and compassion, those prefix-laden words that call out our fundamental human need to be in relationship and connection to one another, and if we listen, perhaps to an another, capital A. But even altruism can someday wane as a source of happiness. We can give so much on one front that we neglect others and may watch our marriages, family relations, and friendships undergo an attrition of neglect that makes them painful memories of a richer season of life now eclipsed by our calling to service. Herein it may help to go back to some elements of the lower levels we've already discussed and engage in some self-care and a Sabbath or even season of recalibration, lest we become the proverbial well that is run dry because it gives out but never replenishes. Or perhaps we reach a point where we define our identity only in terms of what we do for others. And when through aging and illness we find ourselves unable to continue to do so, we lose our sense of worth. Accordingly, while altruism is an amazing and beautiful gift, it has its own pitfalls and cannot be the deepest foundation for our humanity or our happiness. Which brings us at last to Spitzer's level 4, the highest level, and one which I hope to demonstrate is most important if you are to translate your well-honed sprinting skills into those suitable for the marathon ahead. The M in Adam stands for meaning. When we identify and prioritize in the inner world of thought, feeling, and choice, our true selves out of which we show up in the world, that which has enduring meaning and purpose, we finally arrive at a foundation for happiness that outdistances the pitfalls of the levels we've already described. Nietzsche observed that the person who has a why can endure almost any how. Simon Sinek says, start with why. You'll be tested many times in the years ahead regarding what your why is for being in medicine. You may ask, why exactly am I doing this? And that question will confront you when you see others with easier roads to financial success, better golf games, less conflicted family lives, or when your beeper goes off in the middle of your first good night of sleep of the week. I will warn you that in those moments, the satisfaction surrogates we've talked about, like being a top volume producer or having the longest curriculum vitae or being named president of the medical staff, probably won't float your boat. This means you need to know your own why. There are several potential answers for this offered by history and contemporary culture. It would take much more time than we have today to review those in depth, and for most of us, there might be some significant deconstructive work involved if we were to try to do so. As just a brief example of that, suppose your or my answer to the why question was the prevailing educated view of our times, as reflected in what you probably have been taught beginning with Biology 101, that all of us are essentially cosmic accidents stemming from billions of years of chance processes, and that we really have no reason to trust even our own thoughts, which are, after all, simply neuronal chemical events that will cease forever when you reach the end of your biologic existence and become high-quality compost. Without wanting to be callous, I will just say good luck with that one and its downstream implications regarding meaning, even if it is the current prevailing view in the academic world we've lived in together. If I can offer it as an example of the deconstructive thought I referred to a moment ago, just one brief reflection on that theme, the next time someone suggests such a cosmic accident is really who you are, and accordingly there is no meaningful why, ask them if they, or anyone for that matter, has ever seen matter produce information. We all recognize as physicians by now that that is what DNA is, highly specific and detailed informational code. Thus, you have to believe it is possible for matter itself, apart from any organizing intelligent influence, to produce information, if you believe we are nothing but well-organized chemical complexes that managed to defy the second law of thermodynamics and became increasingly complex off a previously non-existent and entirely self-generated informational template, deep breath, and just needed a few eons to do so. Alternatively, you could believe you were made for a purpose, not a career, but a calling. And by the way, that means you need a caller. And that purpose is to, you fill in the blank. All of us are responsible for that and face that in our own lives. My point is that somewhere in your career path, perhaps sooner than later, you will need to have your answer for this question of meaning, both for yourself and as it reflects the inherent value of the lives you care for, or you will not sustain the focus and effort needed to complete the race ahead. For myself, and I offer this only as one beggar telling another where they have found food, I haven't found a better relatively contemporary description than this one which was offered by C.S. Lewis in his essay, The Weight of Glory. Lewis says it is a serious thing to live in a society of possible gods and goddesses, to remember that the dullest, most uninteresting person you can talk to may one day be a creature which, if you saw it now, you would be strongly tempted to worship. Or else a horror and a corruption such as if you now met it, you would meet it now, if at all, only in a nightmare. And if you struggle with that image, I'll interject, as I do, perhaps picture what it might be like to meet, for example, an Adolf Hitler. Lewis continues, quote, "All day long, we are in some degree helping each other to one or the other of those destinations. It is in the light of these overwhelming possibilities, it is with the awe and the circumspection proper to them, that we should conduct all of our dealings with one another, all friendships, all loves, all play, all politics." Boy, that could help our present situation. Back to the quote, "There are no ordinary people. You have never talked to a mere mortal. Nations, cultures, arts, civilizations, these are mortal, and their life is to ours as the life of a gnat. But it is immortals whom we joke with, work with, marry, snub, and exploit. Immortal horrors or everlasting splendors." End quote. Everlasting splendors. Now that has meaning, gives me hope, makes me want to get up in the morning and take care of someone else, and gives a grandeur to changing a bedpan that turns it into a glorious thing indeed. What's your why? What's mine? Now, the point about meaning and the levels of happiness as we wrap up is that if we don't resolve this issue and continue to use it as a touchstone in our journeys, especially when they are hard, we find ourselves reaching back to one of the lower, less enduring means of happiness and its associated pitfalls. As Viktor Frankl pointed out, when a person can't find a deep sense of meaning, they distract themselves with pleasure. End quote. If you don't pursue this highest level of happiness, odds are you and I will find ourselves confined to the limitations and frustrations of the levels we previously described. Sprinters don't finish marathons. So I close our time with this brief summary. You are a fast crowd. You have achieved much. You have sprinted hard. Well done. Recognize that you are now commencing a marathon. You will need to steward in doing so your appetites, your disciplines, your commitment to altruism, and most importantly, your own defined source of meaning, your atom or human foundation, if you are to sustainably run the race ahead. You are well prepared. Never stop building on the foundation you've laid here. Those around you can help sustain you. Never stop engaging with this great community of servants and learners of which you are now a member. You were made for this purpose. Never lose sight of the grandeur of the calling which lies before you, and never stop seeking the one who is called. Never, never, never. Deepest congratulations to each of you and to all of you. Godspeed.
Thanks, Dr. Mellinger. It's now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Rick Austin, president of the Southern Illinois University School of Medicine Alumni Society, who will present the Distinguished Alumni Awards. Rick.
On behalf of the over 3,200 alumni of the SIU School of Medicine, it is my honor to join you today as the president of the Alumni Society Board of Governors. Just 10 years ago, I was sitting where you are now, filled with the same excitement that you have as you begin your careers as physicians and graduates of SIU. On behalf of all of the alumni, I extend my congratulations to you. One of the reasons that I love our alma mater is being part of the lineage of so many amazing graduates like yourselves who have come before us. Today we get to honor 3 of those alumni whose careers give us all something to aspire to and fully embody the mission of SIU School of Medicine. Dr. Allison LaFrance, class of 1988, is the recipient of the 2024 SIU School of Medicine Distinguished Alumni Service Award. Dr. LaFrance is retired after completing residency at the University of Minnesota Methodist Hospital Program and practicing family medicine at Park Nicollet Medical Center in Shakopee, Minnesota from 1991 to 1992. Since then, she has volunteered her time and expertise on medical group missions to the Dominican Republic and Mexico, and in Cameroon, teaching courses to village women in prenatal care, childbirth skills, postmortem care, newborn care, and common prenatal childbirth emergency skills. Dr. LaFrance's work supporting critical healthcare and education programs in Cameroon have made real-world impacts. She is a previous board president of Alpha Women's Center in Minnesota from 2001 to 2010. A beacon of perseverance and goodwill in medicine, Dr. LaFrance's compassionate work continues as she is currently serving as president of the board of directors of the Cameroon Health and Education Fund. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Allison LaFrance.
I am grateful to be up here and deeply humbled to be this year's winner of the Alumni Service Award. And I'd like to thank the Alumni Committee for giving me this honor. Doctors of the class of 2024, congratulations. I remember when I was sitting in your chair, or one of your chairs, and all of you look so young. And I know many of you were not even born when I went through my graduation. But I know I felt so proud and grateful the day of my graduation. I knew that I had been given during my 4 years of medical school the information I needed to start my residency and then go on throughout my medical career, and that was the case. And you are also prepared in the same way, because this is a superb medical school. And congratulations for choosing SIU School of Medicine and for graduating from this school of medicine. As it has been said, I was a family physician. My road got sidetracked a little bit, well, more than a little bit, sideways. And when I was in my 30s, I had a grand mal seizure. A few days later, I was diagnosed with encephalitis and hospitalized. I did not completely recover. I developed some chronic health problems, and I was forced to retire from family medicine, the career that I so much loved. I had multiple seizures in the first year, and I'm now on several anticonvulsant medications which have stopped my seizures. I started having migraine headaches, which were frequent and hard, difficult, and I still have them to this day. And most worrisome of all, I started developing cognitive problems, gaps in my short and long-term memory, as well as fatigue, problems with my vision, problems with walking or even standing, and then a problem with communication, aphasia. I was able to recognize items that were placed in front of me, but if I was asked to say what was the name of that object, for instance, tell me the name of this object, I would not be able to say it was a piece of paper, or this was a pamphlet, or this is a gown. I knew what they were, but I could not vocalize the names of those. I went as an outpatient to a brain injury clinic for several years. learned coping techniques, but it actually took 8 to 10 years for me to maximize my level of functioning. But still on days when I am tired, when I am anxious, like today, when I have a migraine, like I am getting over right now, I still have problems with my speech functioning or my cognition. I remember when I was at my worst point, when I first found out about the results of my brain test, that I had brain damage. That was my third problem. That was the worst. I was praying every day to God, asking Him to, if I can't be a physician, if I can't be a family doctor anymore, please open a window of opportunity where I can still serve people who need me. Every day I prayed that. It took 15 years for an opportunity to occur, to arrive. But I kept trying to work to get better in the meantime. My mother-in-law, Dr. Laura Edwards, an OBGYN specializing in high-risk OB, spent 15 years in Cameroon, Africa. She helped start a program that trained birth women, or trained village women how to help do a healthy way of antenatal care, postpartum care, low-risk deliveries, and newborn care. This was a one-month program, and it was very much of a success. It was called the COMCA program, Community Mother-Child Health Care Program. She unfortunately, after 15 years of traveling back and forth to Cameroon, she ended up dying in a car crash in that country. 2 years later, my husband and I traveled to Cameroon and were visiting that program that she helped start and met many of her friends. We quickly decided to continue on her footsteps with that program, working with that program. For the next 15 years, starting the following year, we traveled every year as volunteers, helping to train the COMCA students in the one-month program, traveling for helping for 5 to 6 weeks a year. Our last trip was in 2018 when the violence started in that country, and it became too dangerous for us to travel there. It was a blessing to us, for us to do that type of work. And unfortunately, we can't do that traveling over to Cameroon, but we still keep active over there. Doctors, it is my greatest hope that all of you will have a long and successful, enjoyable career in the field of medicine. I'd like to end with a quote that comes from one of my oldest books, called Apples of Gold. It's anonymous. Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, in all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as you ever can. Thank you.
Dr. Sam Gaines, class of 1977, is the recipient of the 2024 SIU School of Medicine Distinguished Alumni Achievement Award. Dr. Gaines is a double graduate of SIU, completing a residency in internal medicine at SIU in Springfield in 1980. Dr. Gaines retired from emergency medicine after working for over 42 years as the director of the emergency department and EMS at HSHS St. John's Hospital in Springfield and other locations in Illinois. Dr. Gaines also served his country for over 20 years, rising to the rank of colonel in the Illinois Army National Guard. He served previously as the commander of the State Health and Dental Clinic and the state surgeon. He was also medical director for IDPH Office of Preparedness and Response for 7 years and served as chairperson to the ISMS Committee on Alcohol and Substance Abuse. As an associate professor with the School of Medicine, he has made a lasting impact on countless students and residents, myself included. Dr. Gaines' leadership led to the creation of the first free clinics on the east side of Springfield, after which Central County's Health Center was formed. Dr. Gaines continues his commitment by serving on the CCHC board. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Sam Gaines.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for being here, and I want to say congratulations to the class of 2024. I really applaud you for being able to do this in such turbulent times going through COVID, and as we talked to people, COVID changed everything, and it changed a great deal with medicine. My thing I wanted to do today was to, when I got this award, I kind of figured, who knows all this about me? And it was my colleagues at St. John's Hospital in Springfield, and one of them was an SIU graduate. And when she got the alumni application that asked to make a recommendation, she recommended me, so I was really very proud. What I really want to do today, I was kind of figuring out how did I get here, from being a poor kid in Mississippi going to Peoria, and then to University of Illinois in Champaign. And one of the things when I looked at it, there are many people who actually helped me. One of those was Dean Frankenberg, who was at the University of Illinois, who actually told me, even before the SIU Medical School started, you should take a look at this medical school. They're a little different from everybody else. They actually interviewed their students. And at that time, it was every medical school, basically, you were a paper candidate. You sent your paperwork in, they said you were okay or not okay, but they didn't interview you at all. So that I thought, okay, well, I did fly out to the East Coast to interview, but then every year I talked to Dean Doolin, who would come to University of Illinois every year and talk about this new medical school, how they want to have family practitioners, how they wanted to get physicians for Central and Southern Illinois. And after talking to him and looking at the other schools, I said, well, maybe I'll give SIU a chance. The schools changed greatly different since that time. The other thing that he impressed me was saying, well, you know, we go to most medical schools, they tell you, look to the right, look to the left of you. Half of those people won't be there by the time you graduate. And he convinced me SIU was very invested in keeping their students. The other thing, and I thought that was great because, I was talking about going to the University of Chicago for medical school and said, well, I don't know, that's a good idea. When I talked to Dean Doolin, he convinced me SIU would be a great place to start, even though it hasn't really started at that time, because my class was the second freshman class. And, of course, that's changed a whole lot. One of the other things that that's really kind of sticks with me, Maya Angelou, she had a quote that I always keyed on, that some people may not remember what you said, some people may not remember what you did, but people will always remember how you made them feel. So I want to thank SIU for teaching me how to make my patients feel that I care. The other thing was the class of '77 was a greatly different class. Most of you are just mainly college graduates, haven't done any other significant work. My class actually included people who had been coal miners, people who were pharmaceutical reps, people who had been farmers, and microbiologists and other jobs before they decided to go to medical school. But they all wanted to be doctors, and because they wanted to basically help people. So I wanted to thank my colleagues at St. John's for this nomination and for the society looking at it. And also, I want to thank my colleagues. Also, I want to thank my family for their loving support, because one of the biggest things in which we sometimes forget is making sure that we thank our families, because they really go through a whole lot. When I went to, one of the things that made me go to SIU was because I didn't really want to go to Chicago. I didn't really want to go to New York because I had a wife and 2 kids. And so I didn't want to have to spend all the money and have to do at one of those areas. So one of the things you've got to always do is make sure that you thank your parents and thank your brothers and sisters who basically were helping and support you, because you can really never do this by yourself. So for this, I thank you for this award, and for the students for the class of 2024, I congratulate you. I'll tell you, medicine's changed differently, and if you look at the history in terms of looking at SIU, they have contributed greatly to how students have been trained. Thank you.
Finally, Dr. Mohsin Khan, residency class of 2016, is the recipient of the 2024 SIU School of Medicine Distinguished Alumni Early Career Award. Dr. Khan is an assistant professor of child and adolescent psychiatry at Children's Medical Center, UT Southwestern, in Parkland in Dallas, Texas. He is the psychiatry clerkship director at Reese Jones Center on both Texas campuses. He serves on multiple research, advocacy, and policy committees at UT Southwestern, as well as within other regional medical centers. In his service to the community, Dr. Khan has led discussions with the Foster Care Consortium focusing on ongoing issues in foster care systems. He is a member of several professional societies, including the Texas Society of Children and Adolescent Psychiatry and the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, of which he has been selected as a distinguished fellow. While dedicating himself to many advocacy efforts, editorial, and teaching activities, including invited lectures, Dr. Khan has already distinguished himself as a clinician, educator, and leader in his field. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Mohsin Khan.
Thank you so much, by the way. I wanted to thank all the deity, the respected faculty members, Dr. Austin, of course, as well. Congratulations for the grads as well. I will say that most of the credit for me goes to my mentors and to my teachers. Some of them are actually here, others not as much. Dr. Bennett is actually here as part of the faculty member, Dr. Anwamezi. And one of the things that I wanted to highlight about them in particular was their professionalism and their charisma of how to engage with the patients as well as the family members. And I think that's something that I have carried over in my career as well. As working as a physician, as a psychiatrist with the child welfare population, I think one of the challenges I have noticed is oftentimes families are not being heard. And whether you are a psychiatrist or a physician, the one message I would like you guys to continue to think about is listening to your families. I think that's half of the battle, really. One of the benefits I have noticed is that oftentimes families will actually recognize that, appreciate it, and you definitely see a better outcome for the patients moving forward. I do want to say, as part of my award, part of it highlights academics, the other part highlights clinical. And while you will face a lot of different challenges, I will say that think about the training that you have gotten. You are there for a reason. You guys are deserving of it. And moving forward, I think one of the things that I would like you guys to focus on, at least, is to continue to emphasize the need for education, not just for yourself or your trainees, but also for your patients as well, because that can really help turn and have better outcomes. I will end by saying that while I don't have necessarily as eloquent and illustrious careers as Dr. Allison and Dr. Gaines, I do hope to achieve that. Thank you so much.
So it's my pleasure now to announce the recipients of the Leonard Tao Humanism and Medicine Awards. These are very special awards and are given to one graduating student and to one faculty member who are judged to be exemplary in their compassion and sensitivity in the delivery of care to patients and family members. 2 individuals have been identified by the faculty, residents, and students as individuals who exhibit this highest standard of humanism and in medicine. Will Dr. Peaches Dozier please come forward? Dr. Dozier has been a physician for about half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. But she's been a student of medicine and a compassionate person for much longer than that. She's a leader in this class, obviously. So one nominator wrote this, quote, Dr. Dozier is a great communicator and active listener. She excels in articulating her patients' concerns and displays a keen understanding of the total well-being of her patients. Her dedication to compassionate and empathetic care is commendable at SIU and extending to rotations at 5 other institutions where she upheld the highest standards of professionalism and ethical behavior and was a positive example for her peers across the country, end quote. She's actively involved in community service at SIU, working to improve access to care for all. She's a leader across the nation in her role as the Student National Medical Association's Region 2 co-president and the National Plastic Surgery Interest Group president. Through these, she fosters respect and collaboration with fellow students, residents, faculty, staff, and patients from diverse backgrounds. Congratulations. Let's go over. Where's Ben? Here he is. Here.
Oh my goodness. I just want to say I was not expecting this at all. I did not prepare anything, but thank you so much. However I got this award, thank you for nominating me and thinking of me. I could not have done any of this with my fellow classmates here, class of 2024, so this is for you guys too. Thank you.
Will Dr. Kate Siebenaller please step forward? Dr. Kate Siebenaller is Associate Professor of Pediatrics and Director of our Pediatrics Residency Program. One nominator wrote this, quote, Dr. Siebenaller is, without a doubt, a physician that SIU is lucky to have. Her clinical skill is the most patient and family-centered that I've ever witnessed. She engages every single family and speaks to them as if she's known them for years. She consistently puts herself in their shoes, regardless of their life circumstance. She loves what she does and constantly works to be a better doctor and educator. This makes me want to practice just like her. The nominator continued, when I think of humanism in medicine, I envision compassion, empathy, care, and kindness to the umpteenth degree. Dr. Siebenaller embodies that fully, and she wholeheartedly deserves this award for the recognition of who she is professionally and personally, end quote.
Thank you. This is also very humbling to receive this award. As the graduates know, I'm a pediatric hospitalist, so I never see patients without trainees, which are all of you. So this is really recognition of the work we do together and the work we do together to care for our patients and their families. And for me, it's caring for children. I would not be here or be able to do any of this without the mentorship and support of the School of Medicine, my department, and obviously the love and support of my wonderful, wonderful husband, my 5 beautiful, wonderful children, and my parents who helped take care of said children, and all of my family. So I really, congratulations to all of you. You teach me how to be a better doctor every day.
I now recognize Dr. Giuseppe Meocco, Chair of the class of 2024.
Thank you, everyone, and good afternoon. It is my privilege to award the Golden Apple Award on behalf of the class of 2024. The Golden Apple Award is selected by yearly by the graduating fourth-year medical student class and recognizes a faculty educator who, throughout our 4 years, we felt was the most exemplary and outstanding teacher. As you can imagine, it is a difficult distinction to award. As students, we have had the privilege and joy of so many incredible educators, mentors, and coaches over our 4 years, many of whom are here today, and I would like to take another moment to celebrate all of them if we could. With that, this individual we felt went above and beyond for his students. As head of the third-year neurology clerkships, he is charged with a difficult task to produce student competency over the course of just a short 2 weeks in the nearly 5,000 neurologic exam maneuvers. Okay, not that many, but it is a lot. All jokes aside, what stands out about him is despite the clerkship brevity is how much time he made you feel you had in his presence. Whether his patience with technical maneuvers, clarity in lecture-based didactics, or autonomy in the clinical environment, he worked to create an ideal teaching environment for students. In addition, his mentorship and student engagement thrives outside the classroom, whether via long chats over post-rounds coffee or volunteering his body for the Lake Springfield Polar Plunge, raising money for a fourth-year medical student mission trip. More than this, as a person, he is incredibly humble and kind, and as a former SIU medical student himself, distinctly empathetic to our journey. We as a class could not be more thrilled to present this award to Dr. Jeremy Kulash.
Congratulations so much. Wow. Thank you, Joey, for that awesome introduction. This is a tremendous honor, and one that I was frankly shocked to receive. Joey, I'll admit to you, when you sent me that email several months ago, letting me know that I was going to be receiving this award, I scrolled right past it. I thought this was just a batch email going out to the whole faculty. You know, what could this have to do with me? But fortunately, probably 2-3 days later, I had some little inkling to click on it. And I was pleased to find what is probably the most generous gesture thus far in my professional career. As I said, I'm tremendously honored to stand up here today. As Dr. Austin had said, it was 10 years ago that he and I both graduated in the same room and that we were in the same spot that you all were. And so it feels particularly poignant to be up here accepting this award today. And it's not just the award, but it's the sentiment behind it. I've seen all of you come and go through our little neurology clerkship and subsequently an elective time. And if I've been of value to you, if I've played any small role in your development as a physician, the person you are today, then I am deeply honored, and I am so grateful for the opportunity to have played that role. I want to wish you all the best. Congratulations to you all. You all have really bright careers ahead of you. And I want to say good luck and God bless. Thank you again.
Wonderful. Dean Cruz, esteemed faculty, families, my lovely new doctor friends. This is truly the thrill of a lifetime to stand before you today, and an absolute honor to speak on behalf of my classmates. I start this speech as we started medical school, on the topic of COVID. We've heard mentions of COVID today, and especially if you've attended previous graduations or will attend subsequent graduations, assuredly you will hear still more of it. It is the subtext for a generation of doctors and medical professionals. However, to paraphrase Bane from the 2012 Batman, The Dark Knight Rises, those other medical school classes merely adopted the dark. We were born in the darkness, molded by it. We didn't see the light until we were third-year medical students. My sincere apologies to Mr. Tom Hardy, but this is the picture I paint for you, the origin story of the class of 2024. Sitting in orientation in Lawson Hall in Carbondale, Illinois, eager new medical students, yearly leases signed, and then the shock. Told the Delta wave is peaking. We will have no white coat ceremony. All classes, clinical activities, anatomy, histology, these are all being moved virtual. And Honestly, what a bummer. Seriously. We can call it what it is, call it what it was. It's an odd thing to be in close proximity to others and yet feel distant. Surely a ubiquitous experience among everyone here today during that period. But for us, this manifests as walking through the halls at Lindegren, giving masked waves through glass to classmates because of room restrictions, frequented you go, no you go over WebEx tutor groups, sitting across the screen from a standardized patient, spitting out physical exam maneuvers like a Sotheby's auctioneer to meet your encounter time limit. It's important to recognize where we started because part of the achievement today is predicated on the adversity overcome. Medical school alone is enough to warrant this celebration. Doing so in a pandemic certainly raises the stakes. And yet, if that were it for this class of 2024, among other things, simultaneous, the powers that be decided to make drastic changes in the testing and reporting of board testing. Drastic changes to the residency application process. From a student's perspective, the feeling of unknown on top of unknown. To ask for advice and receive the constant caveat, we're not sure. We'll have to see how that plays out. You guys are kind of the guinea pigs on that one. More than this, with an online education is a constant lingering, would we be ready? Are we missing out? Would we acquire requisite knowledge in this forced experiment? In reflection now, yes, of course we are ready. And yes, of course we have gained the requisite knowledge. And more than this, I can state now that we received perhaps a little bit extra self-directed learning. For we had to be creative, collaborative. We had to acknowledge that there was no script to follow, that we could wallow or roll up our sleeves, that we possess in ourselves the ability to craft our own experiences, to meet our own goals, principally to become our own advocates, that there is no better lesson than to find you have agency despite difficult circumstance. I dwell on this to make the point, though I'm sure many of you here today, beaming in pride for your loved one sitting in front of me, and though that pride is great, I would argue it should be greater. As plainly as I can state, and as impossible as it may seem, you should be prouder for your loved one sitting here than whatever you feel right now. That is the triumph of these difficult 4 years. I transition here because, of course, our journey does not conclude here, that a graduation cap is a baton for the next leg of the race. And as I race on my 31st trip around the sun, though I'm not naive enough to think that I have wisdom, I think, frankly, I would be foolish not to think that I've learned a thing or two. I think a lot of life is about gaining competence, mastery in new skills, then application to others. And for us, this is the opportunity that we have to advocate for others, to apply our empathy of traversing difficult circumstances, that our patients need this desperately. We know this because we've met these patients. We've seen the data. That we know that outcomes change based on pre-existing conditions, that healthcare outcomes are worse for patients of specific race, gender, or sexual orientation. To see the data in our own town of Springfield, that life expectancy drastically differs by which part of town you grew up in. That we leave here with the echoes of the death of Earl Moore Jr. and how fickle trust is in the healthcare profession, yet the opportunity to view that trust not as a burden, but as a privilege. More than a class that knows this, more than being a class that knows this, I believe we are a class that gets it. And there's a distinction there. The difference between understanding existence of versus developing agency to address, to rectify, and feeling the wallow of insurmountability versus climbing the rungs of the ladder. That is where adversity pushes you, and that is where I believe adversity pushed us. So, as I move to conclude of my last words on a last day, I would be remiss not to speak about specific accomplishment. And surely I could speak at length about this class's accomplishment in service, in charity, in research, in policy, and leadership. However, what I'm most proud about this class is a different kind of advocacy. The commitment to friendship, to cohesiveness as a class. And seriously, if you told me I'd ever be standing in front of 500 people talking about friendship, I would have called you crazy. But I'm here to say yes, I drink that Kool-Aid. Oh yeah, for in our circumstances, it would have been easy not to get to know each other. In fact, perhaps it would have been expected. Because medical school, more than an education, is an experience. That medicine, more than a service, is an experience. That culture defines whether these experiences are good or bad, interpersonal bonds, the needlepoint delineating joy in our profession or the slippery slope of burnout. This, I do believe, as corny as it sounds, friendship matters. So, if you'll humor me in these last 75 seconds, I'd love to share some memories about my friends. I'll always remember the yearly Super Bowl party at Jill's with Greg's chicken nuggets and Alexa's blueberry banana bread. If you know, you know. Settling the boundless land of Catan with Shri, Nikhil, and Jack Moore. Zumba with our queens, Kanisha and Mina. A baby shower for our new mom memes hosted by Morgan Engman and Leah. An end of first year party at Megan's with a little extra support afterwards from Kat and Mia. Relaying for life with Ellie Kelly and Nick Roth. A yearly derby party with Emily Dirks and Randy, laser tag ambushes with Gabrielle and Sarah, an ugly sweater party at Jenny's with Morgan K's Mojitos, volleyballing with Emily Mouchon, long laughs in Dr. Wilbur's lab with Nellie, the most supportive group me like with Denzel, and the best Instagram follow out there with Ted, the notorious Triple B, Bridget, Mommy E. Poppy, Allison, and Ryan. For better or worse, whenever hearing Harry Styles, thinking Ashley Eggert, that's so whack, Blaine. The biggest Cardinal fan in this auditorium, and that includes you, Dean Cruz, and Steven. Garage darts with Matt Contreras and Keegan. A worthy adversary in a pie-eating contest, Evan. Homemade grilled pizzas with Cecily at Drew and Hunter Rollers. Holy with Sanskrita, Ashna, and Mina. Mina, you get 2 shout-outs today. Our reliable buckets on the court and Matt McClintock, Noah, Nick Porter, and reliable gym spots with Eddie and Ben. Camel walk and a desperate car jump on the Saints parking ramp. Where was I? Group me financial advice from Adrian. Disclaimer, not legally liable. ERG tutor groups debriefs with Jacqueline, Courtney, Abby, and Emma Fenner in a Halloween Mean Girls revival. Respectable efforts at trivia nights with Alex. Vertical drops on the dance floor with Caleb. Reese and near victory twice in a musical chairs adjacent game. Charcuterie for a murder mystery with Cassie. Mini cannolis with Morgan Surrey. Parth, who I will always be grateful, let me cut him in line. Racing in our final months to finish a 3-year-long board game with Jazz, Michael, and Logan. My co-captain throughout this class office, Peaches. After messaging the class Facebook page in search of a roommate, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 times that Hunter Jones finally said yes. And later, Jack Witten becoming my landlord. I will get you April utilities soon, I promise. I fell in love with the most amazing person I know, Emma Johns. And some of our new recruits along the way, Taylor, Austin Carey, Neon Heaven, Sephra, Chala, Matt Woodbury. Finally, I will never forget how when our white coat ceremony was a casualty of COVID, not once, but twice, how our alumni delivered an experience we will never forget. I could not be more proud to join their ranks today. Thank you, and God bless.
Man, I'm worn out. Whew. And there, Dr. Miyako and the class of 2024, there is no doubt that you get it. And there is no doubt that you have an amazing quality that's going to secure your success going forward, and that is adaptability. You are adaptable, and you have proven it, and you have risen in many, many tough occasions. Usually at this point in the ceremony, I say a few words about professionalism and how unchangeable principles are applied in changing times. But today I'm not going to do that because you've already heard words of wisdom from some masters of professionalism, Dr. Gaines, Dr. LaFrance, Dr. Kahns, Dr. Kulash, Dr. Siebenaler, Dr. Dozier, the great Dr. Mayoko, and several times from the master of professionalism himself, Dr. Mellinger. But what I will do to close is to repeat some of your own words. You, as a class, wrote an oath. I'll read just some of the words of wisdom from that document that you collectively penned, the oath of the SIU School of Medicine class of 2024. I vow to protect and respect all. I will work to improve the health of all. I wish to do no harm and refuse to discriminate against any. I will be educated in the science of humans and humanity. I will advocate for all on an individual, local, state, and global scale. I will work collaboratively with my colleagues to improve access to equitable care for all. I will advocate for policies that promote health equity and social justice. I will reduce suffering. I will safeguard patient confidentiality. That's an incredible pledge. These are your words, a pledge of professionalism by true professionals, the class of 2024. My exhortation to you is that as you fulfill this pledge, you also, at every turn, teach it to the next generation of physicians that follow you. Each of you and all of you collectively will make a big difference in this world. You'll make it a better place. I am very proud of you. We all are very proud of you. Congratulations, doctors. Thank you all for coming. This graduation ceremony is now complete, and I declare the convocation adjourned. We wish you always the best. A great career. I know.